Hi, everybody. I'm Diane. And so, as Denise mentioned, I'm the art and marketing director for Brainfuse. And I do quite a few different things in my role, but primarily I do a lot of these training sessions, both for libraries as well as people who use libraries. And then I also do all of our marketing outreach. And just like design, just a lot of different creative things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the JobNow program, but I'm going to start by showing you exactly where to find it on the Port Washington Public Library website, because I think that's really important. If you don't know how to find the resource, it's going to be very difficult to use, but luckily it's super easy to find. So from the homepage, all you would do is go under Learn and Research. I found the easiest way to locate it is to go to Research Tools by topic. And then there is a topic called Career and Testing. So if you click on Career and Testing, you'll see here the fourth one down is JobNow. And this is what I am going to be talking about tonight. So when you go to the JobNow page, this is where it is going to ask you for your library card. So like Denise mentioned, you do need to have a Port Washington Public Library, but we do work with many of the libraries in both Nassau and Suffolk County. So I actually have the page here open. And this is what the JobNow homepage looks like. So before I get into all of the details, I'm going to do a really broad overview of JobNow and what we do. So JobNow was created to help job seekers during all aspects of their job search, from figuring out the type of career that's a good fit, to creating a resume, to getting a professional resume review, and preparing for an interview. In addition to those very specific job related access points, we do also have different tools to help build skills, because that's another thing that you may need to do when you are job hunting. Like you may want to refresh your skills in like math or writing, excuse me, or even some of the Microsoft Office programs. So the way I'm going to go through the service tonight, I'm not going to go through it as you see it on the screen. I'm going to kind of jump around a little bit. So I'm going to go through it as if I am a beginning job seeker and just the natural process that I might take in order to best prepare myself for job hunting. So before I get started with that, a couple things that I wanted to mention is that for our job coaches, all of them do have at least a 4-year degree. They also have some sort of HR experience. We reference and background check. We also have quality assurance procedures in place. And we do have supervisors who oversee any live sessions if there is a technical issue or if a job coach needs to leave for any reason. Our supervisors are able to put a new coach into the session with you, and that just makes it really easy and more streamlined to continue working with a different coach if that happens to be needed. Whenever you're working with technology, there's always the potential for technical difficulties. So that's one of the main reasons why we do have those live supervisors. Okay, and then right up at the top of the JobNow page, there's a link here for a workshop that we hosted. This one we hosted earlier this month, and it's about an hour-long workshop about how to use social media in your job search. And the expert that presented this, Ashley Watkins, she's a nationally certified resume expert and job coach. So it's a really informative workshop. I've been working with the JobNow program for basically since we started it I think we started it in 2006. And I learned a lot from how to use social media in your job search that I didn't really know about. Like I know about LinkedIn and making sure I keep that updated, but there's a lot of nuances and different ways that social media can help you with your job search. So this is a really fascinating workshop. If you have time, I highly recommend taking some time to watch that. And you would just click the link and it opens up in a new tab. Also, right up at the top of the page, we do have an area where you can actually do some job searching by the keyword and the location. So this job search pulls the aggregate data from Indeed.com. Okay, so you can see here we have the homepage organized into 3 core sections: resumes, job interviews, and then career, which is kind of your general career advice. So if I am just starting out on a job search, one of the first things I may want to do is figure out what type of job best fits my personality, my knowledge, my skills, just something that I would find enjoyable. So there's 2 different areas that we have where you can take a career assessment or a career aptitude test. The first one is the career assessments. And this one is links to a few different websites that have free assessment tools. And that's something that I want to make sure that I emphasize. Anytime Brainfuse JobNow is linking to a website, we have a team of curriculum people who, sorry about that, who go over all of these different resources, they vet them, they make sure that you're able to take the assessment and use the tools without having to pay for anything. That's something that happens a lot with job seekers. If you are just looking for different resources on the internet, there's a lot of really fantastic tools out there, but oftentimes you may use a tool and then it may ask you to input like a credit card number or whatever in order to get the results. So we always make sure that anything we are linking to does not require any type of payment. So here's an example of one of the links. So this is the ONET profile, interest profile. And it's a pretty easy way to just kind of go through a little questionnaire and determine the types of careers that you may find interesting. So it has an overview, and then it does have the web-based profiler. If you prefer to use paper and pencil, you can print it out. There's also a Spanish version and a mobile version. So I'm going to go back to the JobNow homepage. And the next one I'm going to go into is eParachute. So let me make sure I am not logged into an account. When I go to eParachute, it is going to ask me to sign in to my JobNow account. This is something that is optional. You don't have to create an account, but there are certain tools where it is going to ask you to register. This is so you can go back and refer to those results, or if you're using the resume lab, it's how you will get your feedback. It's super easy to sign up, and JobNow does not collect any personal information. All we do is ask that you create a username, a password hint, and your hint answer. So it's very easy to do. We do have some recommendations about things that you may want to use for your username and for your password. Because we are not collecting personal information, we're not collecting email addresses or names or anything like that, we are unable to do a password reset via email. Instead, if you do happen to forget your password, you would need to contact our technical department, either by phone or email. And that information is on the Forgot Password page, which is right here. So I always just recommend that whatever you choose to create for your username and password, that you either write it down in a secure location or use an app or whatever you would normally use to track your passwords, or that you create something that you know you're going to remember. I use when I'm on my personal computer, I just save it to my password manager, so I don't have to worry about remembering. Once you are logged in, then you will be able to access eParachute, which is one of our tools for self-assessment. And let me refresh this because that's not what it's supposed to look like. So when you come into eParachute, well, first, before I talk more about what you do with eParachute, let me explain what it is. So eParachute is a partnership that we have with the author of What Colors Your Parachute, which is the best-selling career guide of all time. His name is Richard Bowles. He actually passed away a couple of years ago, but his son now manages the company and makes sure that everything stays updated as to what's relevant in the job market today. And this particular platform, I think, is really fun and engaging. It's a great way to help figure out a potential career idea. So it's a very simple 4-step process. The first one is you enter in any dream ideas, anything that you would love to do. So if you're not sure, like if you can't think of anything, there are some brainstorming questions here to help you think of different ideas. So one of them is think about your favorite hobbies. You can think about things that you're naturally good at, what you can spend hours or days doing. If money and education wasn't a problem, what would you do? Or even just if you know someone that has a really cool job, you can put that in as an idea. So I always say for this, just dream big. Think about anything that you think would be really fun or really cool to do. So I actually decided it would be awesome to be a superhero because they help people. And I think that would just be really fun. Is it realistic? No, but it's a really fun way to give me different ideas of things that I could do that could help people. After you can enter in as many different ideas as you can think of here. When you're done, you're just going to click move on, and it's going to take you to this second step. And this is where you are going to determine the types of people that you like to be around. So what you're going to do, you're going to think that you are at a party and you're walking into this party, and around the room, there's all these different groups of people. And each group of people is organized by their interests. So we have realistic and artistic and enterprising and all these 6 different groups of people. And what you're going to do is choose the group of people that you identify with the most. So as you're looking at these words, you might be like, okay, but I really am not sure what conventional means when it comes to people types. If you just put your mouse over any of these groups of people, it's going to give you some detailed information about that particular group. So conventional people like to work with data. They have clerical and numerical ability. They carry things out in detail. or they follow through on others' instructions. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, this is not me at all. I am not I'm detail oriented, but I'm not a numerical person. I'm very creative. So this would not be my group of people at all. But one that I think is pretty interesting is investigative. So investigative people like to observe, to learn, investigate, analyze, evaluate, and solve problems. So I'm going to choose investigative for my first group of people. So when I click next, I'm going to imagine that all of the investigative people have left the party. And I'm going to choose the group of people that I now identify with the most. So I'm going to do enterprising. And now all of the enterprising people have left as well. So the last group of people I'm going to choose is social. And what this is doing, it's creating something called your Holland code, which just helps determine the people and work environments that best fit your personality. When you are satisfied with your choices, click submit, and you're going to move on to the fields. So I've already done the fields, but let me show you. I'll click redo so you can see. It's giving me this pretty extensive list of different types of fields. And from this list, I am going to choose any of the fields that interest me, but I'm going to choose at least 4. So when I'm looking at these, if I put my mouse over the eye in the upper right, it's going to give me a little bit more information about that particular field. It's also giving me some suggestions based on what I've answered for the types of people. After I choose my fields, I'm going to click next. And then I'll just confirm that these are the 4 fields that I love the most. And then what it's going to do is it's going to compare each field against each other. And I'm going to just choose the field that I enjoy more. So now it's organized my favorite fields into the top 3. And I'm going to move on to skills. So skills is, let me click redo, organized into 3 different categories: working with people or animals, working with ideas or data, and working with objects, things, or physical activity. So for the skills, it's just focused on anything that you enjoy doing, anything that you may have done in previous careers, or that you may have learned when you were in school that you really enjoyed. And just like with the fields, when you put your mouse over the upper right, there's the little eye that gives you more information about that particular skill. So once I have chosen my 5 skills that I enjoy, I'm going to confirm, and then again, I will compare each one against each other, which I've already done. So I'm just going to click continue. So I can get to the really cool part, which is called the Work Explorer, or your profile. So when I come to this is where it's giving me all these different career ideas. So it is featuring 32 different ideas, and this is all based on everything that I've answered. So as I'm looking at these, one of the first things to take a look at is the score. And the higher the score, the more closely that particular career matches everything that you've answered. Now, as you're looking at these, you may be like, well, I don't think I would like to do that. Like, I don't think I would like to be a psychiatric nurse. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to hide that one. So now it's not going to show for me on the summary page, just kind of narrowing it down and making it easier for me to really focus in on those different career ideas that are most interesting to me. So let's say I'm really interested in being a nurse practitioner. So if I click on it, this is where I'm going to be able to learn a lot more about that particular career. So I can read about the key responsibilities, the people types. So you can see here, 2 of these people types are starred, and that's because those are people types that I chose. And then there's the fields, and these ones you can see some have a little medal and some have a star, and these are ones that are either in my top field or a field that I chose that I enjoy. And then transferable skills. And again, you can see there's the star and the medals. Then as I scroll down more, there's the average annual salary, the degree or education level, potential college majors, abilities, work styles, and common job titles. So all of these different bits of information about the career would be really helpful for me to use both when I am making sure that my education level is up to par, maybe if I'm determining what I want to study in school, or if there's maybe a certification test that I need to take, or even I can use these job titles as different keywords when I am actually searching for a job. So I'm going to go back to the home page. And I had just mentioned that one of the things that I learn about when I'm looking at those career ideas is different skills that I need to have, or even if I may need to take any type of certification tests. So we do have several different tools to help build your skills in the SkillSurfer section. And SkillSurfer is essentially a learning library. So within here, we have different lessons. There's videos, there's practice tests, there's flashcards. There's a lot of different learning tools in here. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit just so you can see. We have several different categories, and there is a lot of content in here, but we do have a search tool right up at the top. So I know that I am looking for things related to nursing. So I can search for nursing. Maybe I need to search for nurse. And whoops, it didn't register that. I can also search for different, I'm not sure what is going on with the search, so I'm going to have to check with tech about that. But I can search for different keywords and it'll pull up those topics related to that. There's also a section here specifically for career prep and job resources, which is the one where you can really hone in on information that you may need to know for the career that you are pursuing. So for nursing, we do have some different practice tests for the different nursing examinations, as well as some flashcards and some general nursing information. Just so you are aware of all of the resources in here, I'll just kind of show you or explain what's in each of these different sections. Like I said, this is a very extensive tool. For high school entrance test preparation, if you either have children or if you are going into high school, there are some different standardized tests depending on the type of school that you are going to. These are primarily for parochial or private schools, but also these essential skills are really great to refresh any of the skills that you may want to strengthen in math and verbal. If you are preparing for your high school equivalency certification, we do have the 3 different types of high school equivalency tests. And for these, there's also a preparation guide. The preparation guides, when it comes to the standardized tests, what they do is they take information that you see in those really large test prep books and break it down into smaller chunks of information that tend to be a little bit easier to digest. So let's say, sorry, I just dropped my mouse. Give me one second. Let's say you are preparing to take the GED and all you really want to know is what score you need to have in order to pass the GED. You can come to this, what score should you aim for? And it will tell you exactly what you need. As long as you score 145 or more, you have passed the GED and you'll get your high school equivalency certification. We do also have practice tests for college entrance, starting with the PSAT. Then we have SAT, ACT, different AP tests, the TOEFL, the TOEIC, the CLEP, the SIA, and then the nursing entrance exams are in here as well. College Now, this is really all about the college application process, just how to apply to college, what things you may need to do, how to write a entrance essay, what does it mean if you are put on a wait list, all of those general questions when it comes to applying to college. College placement tests is the AccuPlacer, and these are some more standardized tests that are used to determine where, like what level courses you would be placed in for reading, writing, and math. College is where we have some different lessons and videos to help build your skills. The career prep and job resources, again, this is where we have career information. And if I scroll all the way down, we do have different resources related just to general job hunting, essential computer skills, and business and career writing. So in this section, another thing that I just wanted to highlight is we do have some career information for during COVID. I know that most places have reopened, but there's still a lot of places that are closed or are reclosing because of the new variants. And the job environment has really changed a lot because of the pandemic. There's been a switch to a lot of people are now working from home. Sometimes your job interview is done virtually, where you do a Zoom interview versus being face-to-face with someone. And then there may even be things like wearing a mask when you go in to do an interview. So it's information about all that type of stuff, because it is very, very different. And also just different tips and things that you can do to prepare while you are doing your job hunting, because it is a much more competitive job market than it has been in the past. It's improved a lot because the pandemic is now getting under control. Well, hopefully. but it's just a really great area where you can be prepared for the unexpected, because this has definitely been a very unexpected period in our lives. So the next section is the unemployment benefits assistance. So if I remember correctly, the unemployment benefits are set to run out in September, I think. At least at this point, we'll see what happens. Everything's kind of up in the air, but we do have unemployment coaches as well as resources to help you figure out your unemployment benefits. So if I come into unemployment insurance, it is going to give me some information just about the benefits, continuing health coverage, and programs. And then we also do have state-specific information because we do work with states all across the nation. And we know that people are working virtually more than they ever have. So it may be relevant for you to know about like the unemployment information for Connecticut, or maybe you work in a different state. So this particular link list is a little bit, it's not all 50 states, but there are the ones here for New York, and I know Connecticut's pretty close to New York, so that may be a relevant one, maybe Pennsylvania as well. But in the other section, we do have information for all 50 states here, whether it's a phone number or a website. Next up is the ASVAB, which is the military test. So there's the prep pack and practice tests. Computers and technology, which is focused on computer literacy skills in Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint and Outlook, as well as some computer programming certifications. So C++, Java, SQL, and then we also have AP information for computer science. Then grad school would be the GRE and GMAT practice tests. Adult learner resources. This area is really fantastic if you are wanting to brush up on different skills, like perhaps you haven't really had to do much writing in recent years. These different lessons here really help refresh those skills. And then we also have some other standard or repetitions of standardized tests that we've already talked about. And then the last one is ESL. So if English is your second language, these tools have been created to really help you improve your English skills. And the focus is reading, writing, and grammar. So like I said, the SkillSurfer section is very extensive, but there's a lot of information in here that's really helpful in building your skills or preparing for different career certifications. So I'm going to go back over to the JobNow homepage. And I had mentioned in SkillSurfer about the unemployment assistance. On the homepage, we also have a section for unemployment benefits, and you can actually connect with a live expert who is able to help you fill out your application. One caveat, or just something to keep in mind anytime you are working with a live person, we do recommend that you do not share any personal information. So if you are filling out a form, you certainly would not want to share like your social security number, birth date, or anything with the live navigator, but they can help you figure out what to put into different sections and just kind of help walk you through the process of getting your unemployment benefits filled out. Also in the career section, we do have some general job resources. And these are organized into nationwide resources and then local resources. So nationwide, this is going to be for all across the nation. And these are just general job search sites. We do have like your general larger sites for any type of job seeker, ZipRecruiter, My Next Move, Simply Hired, Indeed, Career Builder, Monster, Idealist. These are all really great places where you can actually go to the website and do a job search online. And then we have a couple specific for students and recent graduates, and then a few for veterans who are transitioning from military careers to civilian careers. When it comes to the local resources, so these are all going to be Nassau and New York area. So you can see we have the county government page, the Long Island newspaper, the community college, and the New York State Department of Labor. So it's really narrowed things down to your area. In addition to all of the different resources when it comes to kind of figuring out your career path and doing your search, you can connect with a live job coach. So the job coaches can really help you with any aspect of job hunting. They really specialize in helping you with your searching, filling out online applications, and just different things that you can do to really prepare for any job that you are interested in. So before I move on to talking about resumes, I just want to stop for a minute and see if there are any questions. So if you do have questions and you haven't typed them into the chat, you can do that. If you don't have questions, that's fine as well. Also gives me an opportunity to get a drink of water. And if you do think of questions, you can always type them into the chat anytime. And what I'll do is I'll just make sure that they get answered. I may not stop if I'm in the middle of explaining something, but I will make sure that we have time at the end to answer any questions that you may have. Okay, so it doesn't look like I'm not seeing any questions. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to continue, and we're going to start talking about resumes. So resumes are a marketing tool, essentially. You're trying to sell yourself for a particular job, and they are daunting. It's hard to know what to put in your resume sometimes. I have a tendency to put too much into mine. So what we have are different resources to help you write your resume. So before I go to that, I do see here there's a couple questions. There's one about civil service exams, and yes, if you go into SkillSurfer and then the bar exams as well. I'm not sure about the bar exam, but let me look. It would be in the career prep and job resources section. Let's see. So civil service professions is right here. So there's some different practice tests and resources. And then for bar exam, let me see. So it looks like we don't have like the practice tests or anything for the bar exam, but there are some resources for preparation and passing the bar, and then just some general skills that may be useful. So anytime you are wondering about, particular information to prepare for a specific career field, I would recommend checking the career prep and job resources section within SkillSurfer. That's where that information will be. And then there is the search, which I will make sure tech takes a look at since it wasn't working properly. Okay, so back to resumes. Like I said, resumes can be pretty scary, kind of overwhelming to write, especially if you're just like opening up a Word document, it's just a blank document. Or, I mean, I know if you're using Word, I know Microsoft has different templates you can use, and those are definitely helpful, but they're still not really giving you a lot of guidance as far as what to put in the resume and why you should put different things into your resume. So what we have done is we've created resume templates, we've organized resume resources, we have a partnership with Optimal Resume, which is a resume creation software. There's also the ability to interact with a live resume expert, either in a live session where you're communicating back and forth in real time, or via the resume lab where you would send your resume in and get feedback by the next business day. I think our average time is about 11 hours, although that could vary depending on holidays and just how many submissions we're getting. So we do say by the next business day for that turnaround time. So let's start by taking a look at the resume resources. So like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of resume resources that you can find on the internet if you just use the search engine. But when it comes to those, quite often you'll find things like a resume builder tool, and you'll be entering in all of your information. You'll spend all this time filling out this online resume builder. You'll get to the end and you can't print or save unless you pay for it. So what we have done is we've made sure that the different resume resources that we have here are all at no cost or have been created by our curriculum team. So when it comes to the resume resources, my personal favorite one is just like for general resumes is this Career One-Stop Resume Guide. The reason why it's my favorite is because it is incredibly extensive. I'm a very type A person. I cannot be too prepared for anything. So by coming in to this resume guide, it really breaks down everything I need to know about creating a new resume or updating the resume that I have. It even has a sample walkthrough and additional sample resumes. So my personal favorite tool. We do have some different tools specific for people who are transitioning from military to civilian careers, because we know that translating those skills can be difficult at times. So there are some translator tools here. And then we also have some templates, which I'm going to talk about more in just a second. So we have the templates in the resume resources, but we also have this separate section just for the templates. And we have 3 different types of resume templates. There's the chronological, the combination, and the functional resume. So each of these has a little description about what that type of resume template is good for. And just giving you a little bit of background information about the layout of the resume. I will say the preferred resume type by employers is the chronological resume. That's just the one that you're probably most familiar with. It's where you list, it's sometimes called reverse chronological. You just list your job experience in reverse chronological history, so your most recent job first. So I'm going to open up this template. So these templates are all Word documents. And what we've done with these is we've not only created the layout, but for each section, we've included an example and an explanation. So the thought behind these templates is just to make it really easy for you to know what to include in your resume, as well as have a really nice format. Those are both things that will help you stand out from other applicants. So when I'm looking at this template, the first section, we have our contact information. And then there's what we call the profile. It's sometimes called summary or headliner. Most commonly, it's probably summary, actually. But what it is, it's basically taking all of the information in your resume and putting it into like this short phrase. It could be a couple phrases. It's something that is summarizing your skills at a glance, which really makes it easy for the potential employer to see what you can offer the company at a glance. For a long, long time, it used to be you would put a objective on your resume. That's something when I was in school, that's what I was taught to do. But objectives are what you want. And employers really, it doesn't really matter to them what you want. Instead, they want to know what you can do for them. So the profile is just a really nice way to summarize everything. It's also something that you can edit and update pretty quickly for any type of job you are applying for. You can also use this area to really highlight different key skills that may be required for the job position. One of the things that is becoming more and more popular for employers to use, it's called ATS, which is applicant tracking software, I believe. And what that is it's basically pre-screening resumes. So before your resume even gets in front of someone's eyes, there's these programs that are going to be kind of like looking for keywords, looking at your formatting, just very specific things that you need to have in your resume. Like if you're applying for a job and one of the requirements of that job is that you are proficient in Microsoft Word. Let's say you don't have in your resume Microsoft Word, you just put Microsoft Office. Odds are your resume is going to be rejected by this program because you are not showing the requirements in your resume. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit here, and you can see there's the education section, awards and recognitions, professional experience. And when it comes to the professional experience, we do recommend that you do maybe about 10 years of your work history. It's really kind of dependent on the career path that you've had. If you have, an extensive work history or not, the more recent experience is going to be what's most relevant to the potential employer. But there are also going to be looking at things like your job titles, different accomplishments you've achieved. and really just how effective that you were in each position that you've held. So one of the things that our resume coaches do when they review your resume is they help you ensure that you are focusing on accomplishments in your resume. So the next section, leadership and activities and computer skills. So I know that there are a lot of different sections in this particular template, and perhaps you don't have like awards or recognitions. That's totally fine. So this is, thank you, applicant tracking system is what it's called, ATS. Thank you. I couldn't remember if it was software or system, so I appreciate that, Zoe. And I lost my train of thought. Anyway, these templates, oh, I remember what I was saying. The templates have different sections that you may not have, like you may not have awards, and that's fine. You can just delete the section. You don't have to have every single one of these sections in your resume. Instead, they are there to just help you make sure that you are hitting all of the different important areas in a resume. So I'm going to minimize this, and I'm going to go back over to the home page. We also have this resume creation software called Optimal Resume. And within here, it's going to allow you to create a resume based off of a template, or just like kind of guiding you through the process of creating your resume. There's other tools available in here as well, but we're just going to really focus on the resumes. But just so you know, there are templates and tools to help you create different types of letters, cover letters, thank you letters, job inquiry. You can also create a portfolio. The portfolios are really great for various types of career paths, but we see them most commonly for the creative arts. If you're a photographer, designer, model, just anything where you may need visuals or you want to have visuals along with your resume. You can take a practice interview, which is recorded questions that you can kind of practice answering, and then you can learn about what the potential employer is looking for when they ask those types of questions. And you can even create a pretty basic website that pulls all of your job documents into one link that makes it easy to share with potential employers. So I'm going to go to create new resume. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to name my resume. And it's going to take me then to this area where I'm going to choose how I want to get started building my resume. So I can build my resume either from samples, I can build it using different sections, or I can start from scratch. If you are not sure what is going to be the best way to create a resume, I do recommend using the samples. There is also, I'm going to open this in a new tab. There's these different help documents. And this one for the resumes is pretty extensive, kind of walking you through everything that you can do when you are building a resume, an optimal resume. Very detailed. It has lots of screenshots and explanations. So if you are using Optimal Resume to build your resume, I would definitely recommend taking a look at this document. But I'm going to go by samples. So Optimal Resume has over 500 different sample resumes. And what you can do is you can narrow these down based on the category and your experience level. So let's say I'm looking for a job in community and social service, and I am entry level. So it's narrowed down the over 500 sample resumes to 9. And you can see the job titles are right up at the top. And what I would do is I would just kind of take a look at these different job titles, determine the one that most closely fits the career path that I'm taking. And then I would use this as a sample to get started. So what's really nice about Optimal Resume is the format. There's really no way that sometimes when you're doing, when you're using a resume template that's just a document, it can be easy to ruin the formatting. But when you're using the Optimal Resume Builder, you can just come in. It has the section name in one little block for you. And then you can edit this part. Oops. Maybe I'll just delete, click save, and it's going to keep the layout for me. So I don't have to worry about if I'm bolding the section, if I'm, using the italics. It's all for me in here. Just based on the little boxes. In addition to that, there's different tools that can be very helpful for the different sections of your resume. So there's examples, and this is for the work experience section. So I can see just examples of some different jobs and the experience related to that, just to help me kind of brainstorm and get started. I can also take a look at the action verbs. Action verbs are something that can be really powerful in your resume. Like, let's say analytical words, and I can just add it in. And then as I am editing each of the different sections, like as soon as I'm done adding it, as soon as I am done editing it and I click save, it automatically updates my entire resume. So I don't have to worry about like another place where I need to save. It's automatically saving as I edit each section. And then there's several different tools here over on the right. I can do different styles. I can change how my header, how my contact information is laid out. I can run a spell check. I can see the history of the documents. There's also some other tools down here. I can look at tips. I can look at more samples. There's tutorials, instructions, examples. And then the sections here, this is where everything starts to get a little bit more complicated the more you're working on this. You can add more sections, like let's say I have more than 2 places that I've worked. So I may want to add another job here. So I can just fill out the fields. And it'll insert that into my section. I can reorganize. So because there's so many different things that you can do, that's why I always recommend having that help document, which is also always going to be right up here at the top. So it's easily accessible. From Optimal Resume, you can download your resume in a few different formats. which is really nice because sometimes employers require a specific format for your resume. If you are needing assistance converting your resume into a different file type, you can always connect with one of the resume coaches. They're able to help you with that. But they're also, you can download directly from Optimal Resume. You can share it with a link, you can print it. If you have multiple resumes, you can switch between them. You can see I have this one as well. So this is a completely different resume. You can clone your resume, which is really nice when you are applying for multiple different positions, but they are in the same career field. It helps you really personalize your resume and make sure that you're hitting all the keywords and responsibilities and things that are being advertised for. So now that I have my resume written, I want to get some feedback. So there's two different ways I could do that. I can either use the resume lab, or I can connect with a live resume expert. So just so you know, the live experts are available in the afternoons. I believe the time is, it actually says over here, from 2 until 11 every day. There are different federal holidays where we don't have live experts available, but you can always use any of the tools that do not require live interactions, like immediate interactions with a live person. So even if it's like a holiday, you can still use the writing lab and send your resume in. You just may not get feedback as quickly. So let's say I'm ready to send my resume in and get some feedback on it. So I'm going to go to the resume lab. All I'm going to do is I'm going to upload the file that I want the resume expert to review. And then there's a little box here where I can enter information about the job I'm applying for. I do recommend, if it is an online application that you're applying to and you see like the job description, I would just copy and paste that whole description into the box, because it's going to allow the resume coach to really help ensure you are hitting the keywords and that your experience is really relevant to the job that you're applying for. And they can also help you just really focus your resume into that position. So after you click submit, the resume goes off to our different resume experts, and then one of them will send you a reply, and that reply is by the next business day. But like I said, it's our average time right now is about 11 to 12 hours. So when you get your feedback on your resume, because we are not collecting personal information, you will just need to log in on your account and you'll be able to know if you have feedback. There will be a little alert by the inbox, or you can just go to my message center. The easiest way, I think, is to go under your account name and go to my message center. And you'll see a history here of all of the items you have sent in. Like if you've sent in multiple resumes, you'll see each of the ones you've sent in, as well as the feedback from the resume expert. So let me show you an example of what the resume feedback looks like. So let's see. Okay, so when it comes to the resume feedback, our resume coaches do have a little form that they use when they are sending the reply. So the first paragraph here is going to be the same for everything that you send into the resume lab. It's just letting you know what to expect as you are looking at the feedback. And also, if you have any questions, maybe you don't see the comments from the tutor or you don't see the review, you can email us directly. Or if you get some feedback on your resume and you have more questions, maybe you need some more clarification, you can either resend your resume or you can connect with a resume coach and get some additional personalized assistance on that. So the next part of the feedback is going to be kind of a summary about what a resume is. Again, this is going to be the same or very similar for every resume that you send in. It's just kind of giving you a quick overview about what a resume is and things that you can think about to help improve your resume. Then we come down to general suggestions. These are going to be more specific to what you have sent in. Talking about the font, the visual elements, the work history, contact information, and then there may be links to different sample resumes if those are relevant for you. Then there will be a copy of the reviewed resume along with the one that was sent in. So for this particular resume, it is not formatted very well. That was probably the most glaring issue with this resume. And what the coach did with the feedback is they reorganized it, but they didn't just reorganize it. As you are looking through your feedback, what you're going to see is explanations of why things were changed. So in this one, they added a profile and explained what a profile is. They put an example, just taking information from a submitted resume. And then in this qualifications section for these different bullets, so this is a combination resume, I believe. And so the first part here is just like basically what you would normally see, like if you were doing a chronological resume, you would see the bullets under each position. But in this one, it's organized by the skill type, and then the history is down below. So always the goal when it comes to any of these bullets that you are including on your resume, it's not just to say like things that you did at your job. Like you wouldn't want to just say like you opened the store or you got the cash register ready for the day. Instead, what you would want to do is say things that kind of set you apart from different job seekers. So in this one of the examples is this bullet here that says, developed targeted email campaigns to key decision makers. So when you think about it, anybody can write an email. What's more important to the potential employer is the result of the campaign. Like they want to know what happened because of your email campaign. Did you get more sales for them? What percentage of growth did you achieve? How many people read the email? Those types of things. So the resume experts are really going to help you focus on different things that you can ask yourself in order to show accomplishments, to quantify whenever possible, using numbers, percentages, just anything that helps set you apart from different job seekers.